Okay, so today I'm going to talk about something that feels like a little bit of a confession. It points out a flaw that I have not quite understood yet to its full extent, but I thought it would be a meaningful conversation for the podcast in case anyone feels the same. And it goes all back to my personality and to some of the self reflections I have done over the years. You know, how we all do these personality tests at work. MBTI, insights discoveries, we do Enneagram, and all these things that we uncover about ourselves that feel so true, right? Like you always do these kind of tests and you go like, oh yeah, that's me. This is why I behave a certain way. This is why I react like this in certain situations. And for me, I love doing these things. I love self-reflection. This is what this whole show is about, isn't it? But there is one thing that I have never quite been able to understand about myself. And it's that contradiction it feels like a contradiction to me. What you know about me really well is what I talk about all the time is that I am quiet, introspective. I am somebody who goes inward for energy, for inspiration. I'm a deep thinker. I would happily work with my headphones on in deep work focus all day long, right? This is how I thrive. The other side of me is very ambitious, too ambitious for my own good. And the way that comes across in some of these personality tests is like I'm a red energy. I'm very direct. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I can make decisions very fast. I'm ambitious. I'm competitive. I want to win. I'm an achiever. I'm an Enneagram 3. I think that's the achiever type. So naturally, I have always struggled with this imbalance of introspective, quiet, slower pace. And then achiever needs to win, needs momentum to thrive. Like it's always been kind of an imbalance, it felt like to me. And the way this showed up for me in the past couple of weeks is I've always ended up in this spiral where I thought to myself, well, I can't do this anymore. Like from a career perspective, I'm going to open the curtain a little bit on what this looks like for me right now. Like I have a corporate role. I work as a senior brand manager in corporate. This is a full-time role. I also host this podcast for the past 2 years, which means that an episode goes live every Tuesday. I sell digital products, and this kind of feels flat to me, but yes, I have digital products and they have a whole funnel behind them that I tweak and optimize. I've got an email list. Like there's this whole business around subtle series that I maintain and I kind of try and keep alive and progressing. And then every once in a while I do one-to-one work for, consulting on either personal brands or actual brands. And I love all of that very much. Like I love the different pace. I love the corporate job. I love the podcasting and the business and figuring all that out. I love the mix of things. Like I am not doing this because I want to quit corporate. That's not the case. But every once in a while, I find myself in that spiral where my, small inner introvert devil goes, you can't do it all. It's too much. You need to focus. You need to pick one thing that you're really going to double down on, because otherwise you're just going to stay stuck. You're just going to, not be great at any of them if you spread yourself too thin, right? We know the sentiment of like, don't spread yourself too thin. You should prioritize, you should focus. And I get that. And that small little quiet devil tells me that day in and day out. But then I've got that achiever angel. Well, why do I call that an angel? I don't know, but it's like a little angel. Like it really wants things. It wants to win. It wants momentum, right? It wants this podcast to get in the right hands and like people who really resonate with it. It wants downloads. It wants for the tools to sell. It wants all these things, right? It also wants a promotion in corporate, but I'm going to keep that for another episode. So there's these two little sides of me that don't quite fit together, that compete with each other. And I'm always drawn between I need to do more, I need to double down, and I need to do less. I need to focus. I need to pick one thing, pick one lane, and go. And so then I came across this question prompt that really put things into perspective for me, and that stopped me in my tracks. And what it said was, if momentum was guaranteed, if success was guaranteed for you, but it would require you to be in this high achiever operator type mode all the time, to a point where it would deplete you, to a point where it would really drain your energy, at a point where it would potentially become unhealthy for you. But success was guaranteed. Would you go for it? And the answer is yes, 1,000%. And that feels really unhealthy, doesn't it? That was shocking to me, that I would abandon myself, like my nature, right? Who I really am, how I know I thrive, for the benefit of winning, for the benefit of succeeding. If somebody could guarantee me a win, I'd go for it. And the reason I share this out so openly is because I really felt called out. I really felt like, well, that's not the right thing to do, is it? Like, surely there must be a different way. There must be a different way to succeed in a way that doesn't deplete you. And what I thought about a little bit is this kind of sentiment of, where are you good at? Where do you thrive? And I feel like where I thrive is with, I'm a strategist at heart. I'm somebody who comes up with the idea and who comes up with multiple ideas and projects and thoughts and, start a podcast and run this business and do a corporate job at the same time. And at some point, I would also really like a product brand. Like, I would love to build a brand at some point. Not right now, but in the future. So that's my brain. And I think I can come up with a vision. I can come up with what the brand needs to be. Who is it for? The positioning, all that. The big vision for it. But if I really face into the facts, then I am not the person who executes on it, who brings it to life, who goes from A to Z and doesn't lose energy, right? I am not this type of operator. Unfortunately not. I'm not the CEO type. And this is really hard to admit because I would love to be. Like, why am I this, achiever type person in the body that is not laid out to be an operator, to be the CEO, to be the one who executes? Like, how am I given these ideas, but not the energy, not the personality, not the drive at the end of the day to execute on it? And what do I do with this dilemma? Because obviously, like, ChatGPT tells me, like, you just need to hire an operator. You just need to bring another person in who can fill that gap that you have, right? Who can take your ideas and execute on them. Well, that's great, but this is not really where I am yet with this podcast and with this business, right? Like, I first need to get it off the ground and make sure that it exists before I can actually bring in people. And so in my mind, the belief that I have is that I kind of need to be both right now. I need to be both the strategist, the person that comes up with the idea, and also the operator, the one who executes on the idea, at least until a certain point where I can then bring in other people who are way better at operating this thing, at scaling this thing, at, building the funnels, building the system, building the machine, all that stuff that I force myself to do right now, but don't really thrive at. That's the belief that I have. And I don't really have an answer for this right now. Like, I keep circling back, and this is why I'm calling it like the achiever spiral, because it's spiraling. And it's that conflicting thought between, do I slow down? Do I pick a lane? Do I do one thing really well? Or do I double down and I force myself into operator mode? And I execute on all these things, and I kind of accept the fact that it's not how I thrive. It's not how I do my best work. And that is the part that scares me a little, right? Because if I'm not at my best, will I get this off the ground in the first place, right? If I'm not operating in a way that suits me, that is in line with my personality, is in line with who I really am, you know, the thinker, the strategist, the one with the headphones, the one potentially behind the scenes, you know, pulling the threads. If I can't be that role fully, then will I always keep feeling stuck? Will I always feel stuck with this? If you are somebody who feels this and who has this rare combination as well of like being introspective, quiet, deep thinker, observational strategist, but also has this achiever inside of them, the one that needs to win, the one that wants to compete, the one that wants to be out there, the one that really wants to be an operator but isn't. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I will keep this episode at this thought because, like I said, I've not figured it out yet. What I know is that I had this very same problem early into my corporate career. And this is how all of this started to came about, because I found myself in that exact dilemma, right? I didn't quite have the language for it yet, but I have been the introspective, quieter person in a setting that I know rewards the louder personalities, the extroverts, the ones who speak up in meetings, the ones who make their voice heard, the ones who present in front of audiences and town halls. And I found a quiet way to visibility. I found a quiet way to position myself, to let people know what I want out of my career, to let people know the kind of opportunities I want, to have the right conversations, one-to-one, not many-to-many. And I slowly developed this quiet way into loud career results. And I did it in corporate. And now, 10 years into my corporate career, I feel like I've got that momentum. I feel like I can be who I am, and my achiever type winning, like little angel that wants to really achieve things and wants that next level and the promotion. I feel like they're in sync right now. And maybe that's just what it is, that it just takes time for it to settle. But I am on the search for that quiet way into broader career aspirations beyond the corporate role. Maybe this works in podcasting. Maybe this works in entrepreneurship and online businesses. Who knows where else this works? Like this quiet way to loud career results. Let's look for it together. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.